Hello and welcome to Diplomats. Today we're speaking to the Consul General from Belgium to Turkey, Francois Delmarmol. Mr. Delmarmol, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about my job here in Istanbul.
Well, Turkey and Belgium have a very long and very solid background of bilateral relations over the years. What do you think is the most solid or the biggest element that has allowed the two countries to maintain this good relationship?
Well, you're right. We've had a long and solid relation with Turkey. You know that we Belgium are a fairly young country. We became independent in 1830, and 7 years later the Sultan Mahmud recognized the independence of Belgium. It's a short time, 7 years, because for the Sultan it was not that easy to recognize a young country becoming independent. The Ottoman Empire was a multi-ethnic empire, so it was a bit, the Belgian independence was rather difficult to slick from many kings and emperors in Europe, but the Sultan did. And since then we had a very intense relationship. In 1938 we signed a treaty of friendship with the Ottoman Empire, and since then we developed a very friendly relation. We had many businessmen investing in Turkey, and politically speaking, no great problem except sometimes the usual frictions which happen between two countries.
Well, that's why there are diplomats like you, isn't it, to try to smooth those areas out sometimes.
Exactly. We are here for helping strengthen the friendly relations. We have sometimes to explain to each other what's happening. There are political, I would say, cultural differences in the way you apprehend politics, and it's useful to have a diplomat because he knows his country, and after a while he understands better the country where he's posted.
Well, speaking about understanding each other's countries, let's take a brief look at Belgium now. And Belgium is famous for many things since its independence. It's grown tremendously. Business is one of them, isn't it? Because the banking system in Belgium is a very strong banking system. But isn't Belgium business investment very cautious and prudent?
I wouldn't say cautious and prudent, yes, with some part of risk-taking. But you may take a risk when you devise well and carefully your project. And this what was the case since Belgium became independent, with a very strong industrial output. You know that at the end of the 19th century, Belgium was number 2, the second most industrialized country in the world after Great Britain. And at that time we had a very daring entrepreneurs who came and invested and developed projects in many parts of the world, and among those countries Turkey. May I give you an example which is a fairly famous Wagonlit was owned by a Belgian banker, and Wagonlit invented luxury trains. So the Orient Express, running from Ostend in Belgium to Istanbul, was ownership of a Belgian banker who developed tourism by building the Pera Palace Hotel, which is a famous place in Istanbul. Belgians were also very present in the electrical sector, and they built the famous funicular joining Pera and Kadıköy. We were producing electricity in Istanbul, so we were very present in which were important fields of development at that time. Since then, we invested in other fields like banking. You were mentioning banks, two important banks in Turkey, Fortis, which is now merging with TEB, and Denizbank Dexia are owned by French and Belgian stakeholders. And they are developing fairly well and successfully.
Well, from a Belgian viewpoint, and I suppose now from a global viewpoint, Turkey is expanding its economic base very, very rapidly. On the back of the global economic downturn, Turkey's managed to maintain probably less of an impact on the economy than some other countries. What's a Belgian's view of the Turkish economy now, and how far do you think that Turkey can progress in its current state?
Well, we view with some envy the Turkish economic position, how they got out the crisis. They could even avoid the crisis. To some extent, the banking system in Turkey had one big advantage, that they faced a crisis a few years ago. So they made the necessary reforms, and they were ready to face the financial crisis. And so that's a reason why the Belgian banks, which I mentioned before, are so successful in Turkey. We are convinced in Belgium that Turkey will still develop economically. Turkey is open to some important regions in the world, Central Asia, who will certainly develop. Turkey is very well present in the Middle East, and if, for instance, and I hope so, Iraq can solve its political problems and stabilize, there is a very important market open for foreign businessmen. And I think that since Turkey has a very good political relation, Turkey could help us in joint ventures to develop economic ties with Iraq and other countries of the Middle East and Central Asia.
Yes, with the World Bank, the ECB, and also rating agencies such as Moody's, for example, are rating Turkey's economy just below investment level. However, there are still many business people and entrepreneurs from other countries who are investing nevertheless as though Turkey were already at that investment level. Is that something that, as a diplomat in this country, you would recommend to entrepreneurs from Belgium to come and invest money here in Turkey?
Sure. I think there are many opportunities in a country with many assets, a very good workforce. The competence of blue collars is very high in Turkey, but not only blue collars. Turkey has very competent engineers and technicians. So this is an enormous asset. I would nevertheless tell potential Belgian investors that they will have to face red tape, which is unfortunately still present in Turkey, and sometimes a difficult competition environment, because there is still a tendency of the Turkish government to protect some Turkish businesses, and the competition is not always that fair. But this being said, I think there's a country with a huge potential, a very young country and very dynamic. This is very striking, coming from the old Europe, as some neocons would describe Europe. You come in a country full of energy that never sleeps, with a readiness to work and hard. And this is, I think, maybe as important as raw material or a good financial system.
Well, speaking about things which are important, like raw materials and the financial system, other parts of business which also transcend into the cultural area is tourism. And Turkey is such a vast country with so many places to see, and such a growing business in tourism. How can you help Belgians to understand a little bit more about Turkey? What do you think you could do to encourage Belgians to come and visit this country?
Well, I would like to promote intelligent tourism because I fear that this sort of mass tourism could destroy Turkey. But what we are planning to develop, and we are already busy at that, is to try to let Belgian people know Turkey better. And we have one example. The Catholic University of Leuven has been excavating a Roman city in Sagalassos. It's a place in the mountain 125 kilometers north of Antalya. These are very, very impressive ruins, and I think they are matching in interest something like Efes. What we would like, I dare to say that because not only because I'm Belgian, but because in fact it's a gorgeous place because of its situation, surrounded by mountains. And then what has been found there is most interesting. What we like to do is to inform Belgians of this site and organize intelligent visits, because you have absolutely to avoid destroying this marvel, and you have to preserve also the ecology surrounding. So more than promoting, I would say, mass tourism, what we want to do is to help Belgians know better how many marvels they may discover everywhere in Turkey, which is a fantastic place with so many layers of civilization.
Yes. Well, for Turkish people to understand a little bit more about Belgium, of course, it's your job the other way around, isn't it, to help to introduce Belgium. And Belgium is famous for a number of things, and Antwerp comes to mind as a place which is the centre of the diamond trade, if you were. But the trade in conflict diamonds and blood diamonds over the years has caused some cause for concern in the diamond industry. But there's a method now, isn't there, which Belgian diamond cutters and sellers subscribe to make sure that they're not dealing in these conflict or blood diamonds.
Yes, you're right. Belgium has been very active in supporting the so-called Kimberley process to help certify that diamonds are not coming from not stolen in countries plagued by civil war. So yes, definitely, both on economic, the diamond sector in Antwerp and the Belgian government were very supportive and very active in negotiating this Kimberley process and then in applying it. And it's an ongoing process. I know that there are still discussions to how to improve this process. This being said, yes, Antwerp remains very central, although it faces now increasing competition from a country like India, for instance. So there is no more diamond cutting in Antwerp. But certification still happen in Antwerp because of the expertise of the mostly Jewish community in Antwerp, which is very famous, and diamonds are a big part of our exports.
Something else about Belgium that I think some people know about, but not many people know about, and that's the education system there. It's very attractive, isn't it, for foreign students to want to come to Belgium to study there?
It is indeed, and sometimes we complain that our universities are overcrowded by foreign students, and there are sometimes discussions about shouldn't we limit the number of foreign students. There are young Turkish students coming to study. I made a rough calculation that we have approximately 300. We issued 300 visa a year for Turkish students to come and study in Belgium. This is maybe not enough, because I think that it's very important. It's a very important way for two countries to know better each other. There are some prominent Turkish citizens who studied in Belgium. I think of the chairman of the Istanbul Chamber of Commerce. Got his diploma in Belgium, in the University of Brussels, and he is married with a Belgian. So you see, it creates very important personal relations, and you may play. We have the ambition to try to facilitate the issuing visa to Erasmus students, because this is also something we should promote, and which is mutually beneficial for Belgium and for Turkey.
Well, speaking of that, there are some 200,000 Turkish citizens living in Belgium now. How far does that play into understanding or allowing each of the countries to understand their cultural differences and their cultural attractions?
It does help, and the Turkish community in Belgium is integrating fairly well, especially the second, third generation. They have developed some businesses, active Turkish businessmen, which I sometimes meet here when they come back to Istanbul. But we have also Turks who became a member of our parliaments. You know that we have many parliaments in Belgium, but you have politicians of Turkish origin who are representing, who are a member of our Belgian parliament, but also the European Parliament. So this is, I think, very important. It shows that the Turks are integrating well in Belgium. Still, we have to be sure that they learn properly our languages, because otherwise they can't integrate in the the labor market.
Are there any initiatives to help them to do that? Are there language courses, and are there things to help people to integrate in a better way?
One university is thinking of creating a Turkish language center, which is a very interesting initiative. It's only in the limbos, but I hope that this could develop and bring more exchanges between at a university level.
In terms of its outward reach, Belgium is a country that really likes to involve itself very deeply in various aspects of other countries, and it's proven that across Europe. What about Turkey? What else does Belgium like to involve itself in Turkish industry and commerce?
Well, we have a limited force de frappe as Belgians, but we invested in some strategic domains in the Turkish economy. We already mentioned the banking systems, but what's interesting is that now an important insurance company of Belgium decided to invest in Turkey. We are also trying to improve the relations with the port of Antwerp and Turkey, and there is a logistic company already based in Mersin. So these are, I think, strategic domains where Belgium is present, and also we invested in different industrial fields.
You mentioned earlier about Turkey being in a strategic position in terms of opening up markets with its neighbours, and where Belgium could take advantage of perhaps having Turkish partners. Is that something that's in the sights of Belgian companies?
Yes. I met a Belgian businessman a few days ago who's going to invest in renewable energy. And I asked him whether he was aiming at the Turkish market. He said not only, but I think that with the help of Turkish businessmen, I could get into markets around Turkey.
So do you think with Turkey as a developing economic nation that Belgium could partner with Turkey, or Belgian companies could partner with Turkish companies to go into third-party countries for various developments?
I think so. It's, of course, difficult. We had some partnership in the past. It's not easy, but I think if you take the necessary precautionary measure to be sure to keep your say in the business, that would be an excellent way to develop economic relations with the Middle East, Central Asia, maybe China, Africa, where Turkey is very present.
Something else that's interesting about Belgium, and that is that it has a sector to do with medicine. It's won several Nobel Prizes for physiology and also for medicine. It has pharmaceutical companies there. How does Belgium view the pharmaceutical industry? Is it something that it supports tremendously?
Yes, it's an important part of our industrial sector. We have big pharmaceutical industries which are present in Turkey. And what's interesting is that one world pharmaceutical company has its laboratory in Belgium. It's GlaxoSmithKline is present in Belgium, not for production, but for research. And I think this is as important, maybe, as production. And we are, of course, convinced that a country like Turkey, which is developing a very good medical system, is a potential market for us and for our industry.
In terms of the companies like SmithKline that you mentioned, does the government also support in a tangible way or a financial way the research and development into new drugs?
Yes, but as you know, because of the crisis, we have to tighten our budget. So unfortunately, research and development is one of the first victims of budgetary cuts. But what is most important is to help, I would say, universities, maybe not the industry, because they have enough means, but creating the brains, of helping creating the brains to develop pharmaceutical products.
So we get back to that educational element again, don't we?
Yeah.
Let's take a look now at culture. And Belgium is a strong advocate of cultural exchanges between countries on the premise that it helps to foster much stronger bilateral relations for the future. So tell us a little bit about what Belgium is planning with Turkey.
Well, in fact, I was amazed when I arrived, when I settled in Istanbul, to see how active cultural exchanges were between Belgium and Istanbul, because I know Istanbul more than other cities. To some extent, there is no need of a public support, because so many things are happening. Of course, sometimes you need financial support to pay for the travel expenses, but I was really surprised to see how present, or how much present, Belgian artists were in Istanbul. There were so many exchanges between theaters.
Are they sculptors or artists?
You have not only sculptors, yes, and I will show you a piece of a Belgian sculpture, which I bought for the Consulate General. there are galleries which are specialized with the Belgian artists here in Istanbul. You have many exchanges of dance groups between Belgium and Turkey. Of course, you will see that we are focusing on plastic art, dance, maybe less other kind of a cultural event because of the language problem, but nevertheless, some books of Belgian writers have been translated in Turkish, and I recently helped to translate a book by the Flemish author. I had the pleasure to receive here two Flemish authors who had been translated in Turkish, and they gave a conference, and there was a very vivid dialogue between them and the public. So it goes much farther than I thought before coming to Turkey.
Well, it's very pleasing, isn't it?
Yes.
Just on a personal note now, as a diplomat, what do you miss most about your home country of Belgium?
Well, you know, if you choose the diplomatic career, is in fact to bring your country abroad, which is its culture, its traditions, and also to help your country understand better the outside world, which is very rewarding. Belgium is a small country, but it has a very brilliant cultural past, beautiful cities, and you mentioned Antwerp. Rightly, because I'm sometimes a bit sad that people only know Bruges. There are other beautiful cities in Belgium, and this is one of my ambitions, is to let people outside know Belgium as a whole, with its past of a very brilliant past in all kind of in all domains of culture and science.
I could never possibly ask you to compare beautiful cities with other beautiful cities and which one is the most beautiful. And you've mentioned some in Belgium, clearly there are some in Turkey. But again, as a diplomat, how do you feel about a posting here in Istanbul? Do you feel it's a privilege of some kind?
Yes, for sure, it's a privilege. It was my dream. It was my dream, and I know that there were many people competing to replace me. Istanbul is a dream city on many aspects. I fell in love with Istanbul more than 40 years ago as a young student, and it was a real, I would say, it was a fantastic surprise to hear that the minister was sending me to Istanbul. So I had 3 fantastic years in this beautiful city with so many interesting Turkish people to meet and to being friend of.
Francois Marmol, thank you very much indeed for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that was Diplomats for this edition. Join me again soon for another edition. I'm Stephen Marnie. Thanks for watching. See you again soon. Bye for now.